Hello, boys and girls, and everything between and beyond. My name is V, and welcome to. I honestly don't know what this is. We're at K Mary's channel once again, and the title of today's video is "How Gavis Bettel Became the Sexiest Jester of Tumblr." And on my screen in front of me, there's a wiki article about Tumblr's sexy man, which, to be completely transparent with you, I've heard the term Tumblr sexy man before, but I always just assumed it means it was a male fictional character that you could find a lot of not safe for work art on Tumblr. So, today I'm gonna get educated, I think. And because Gavis Bettel has become a Tumblr sexy man. Apparently. I've seen like things about this come up on Twitter or X like not that long ago about some competition. But I was like, it's Tumblr. Like, I've never been on Tumblr. It's not really a platform that I care too much about because it's just not my kind of platform. So I just kinda, like let's the people over there have their fun. I don't need to be involved. And then I see this, and I was planning to react to something else, but I am frankly too curious that what's happening deserves its own 44 minutes and 19-second long video. So let's lean back, relax, grab a snack, grab a drink, and grab a friend. And let's, if you're like me, let's all get educated about what a Tumblr sexy man is and how Bettel became one.
Tumblr sexy man. What Wikipedia describes as a fictional character that gains wide popularity as a sex symbol. Characters described as Tumblr sexy men are typically villainous or otherwise unusual, although the criteria for what qualifies as a Tumblr sexy man varies greatly. Urban Dictionary echoes a similar definition, but adds on the asterisk that Tumblr sexy men are typically not conventionally attractive. The definition for what any given person you ask will think qualifies as a Tumblr sexy man varies greatly from person to person. Just ask Hollowstar's English member Maggie Desmond, for example.
You think of the Tumblr sexy man. You have Sans Undertale, got it? You have the Onceler, the guy who cuts down the trees in the Lorax. I think that the irony has been lost on you. Tumblr sexy men are not sexy. You understand? It's ironic.
Many characters are considered Tumblr sexy men, but not many can officially say they've won a Tumblr sexy man competition. The most official way to determine a Tumblr sexy man, of course, but let's narrow down the scope of Tumblr sexy men for a second, and really do a deep dive into one of the larger categories of Tumblr sexy men, because the journey we are about to go on deals with one very, very specific genre of Tumblr sexy men. Jesters and clowns. You heard me right. There are a plethora of jester and clown characters, and just by virtue of being a jester or clown, a character is usually seen as quirked up enough to almost guaranteed be considered a Tumblr sexy man. There are so many jesters and clowns, in fact, that it warranted an entire competition dedicated to crowning the Tumblrist and sexiest man of all jesters. But what started as a simple and fun Tumblr poll managed to break containment of the site and lead to one of the Dark Horse competitors to go on a hot streak through the entire competition. And that Dark Horse competitor? None other than Gavis Bettel, Vtuber from Hollowstar's English. For those of you already subscribed to this channel, you are probably already wildly familiar with Gavis Bettel.
Yes.
I post many a stream clip of him here. But you may also be wondering, K Marie, why are you making this video? This isn't a VTuber clip, and I am most certainly not a video essay creator. Well, this is a very unprecedented video format for me, but I felt uniquely qualified to talk about this topic, because believe it or not, the spark that ignited the flames of battle that would take Gavis Bettel to the final round of the Tumblr Jester Clown Sexy Man competition would happen on this very channel. Before I get into the details of this historic internet event, some of you out there are probably asking the question, who is Gavis Bettel? To anyone not locked into the corporate VTuber sphere, it seemed like this Ikemen anime character suddenly appeared out of nowhere, and he also happened to have thousands of fans? So what's his deal? To those who are uninformed, here's a little quick TLDR on our main character, Gavis Bettel.
Okay.
Gavis Bettel is a male VTuber under Cover Corp, one of the largest and most successful VTuber companies, who is widely known for hosting VTuber group Hololive, which has Japanese, English, and Indonesian branches, as well as an English and Japanese branch named Holostars, their male VTuber units. Gavis Bettel would go on to debut in January of 2023 in Holostars English second group Tempest Vanguard, along with members Machina X Flan, Banzoin Haka, and Josuiji Shinri. The four of them would join Tempest members Axel Sirius and Regis Altair, and now graduated members Vesper Noir and Magni Desmond in the Tempest Guild. They would later be joined by four more members in the English branch in a guild named Armis, and the fandom name for Holostars VN as a whole is called Starman. Very in theme with his Jester persona, he's most commonly known for his max luck stat, with his luck swinging wildly from godlike to non-existent. As demonstrated most significantly as him being the winner of Doki Bird's 2024 WrestleMania competition, a completely random chance event, only to lose to a surprise competitor right at the end about 20 seconds after his victory.
They had the title for 14 seconds!
Apart from being a devilishly handsome Jester VTuber, he's really not all that different from your average Twitch streamer. His content is widely seen as variety, commonly found playing a wide range of games from Souls-likes, hero shooters, League of Legends, horror games, friend slap, GTA roleplay, and everything in between. His fan base is called the Battalion, which I will commonly use in this video, and are depicted as little imps. Battalion also enjoy lovingly referring to him as any word that starts with G followed by any word that starts with a B. So if you've seen anyone talking about the competition refer to someone called Gerber Baby, a God's Blunder, Gravy Basket, Garbage Beetle, and etc., that's all referring to the same.
Alright, those nicknames I were not aware of. So far, everything that she have told me, I knew, except for this. Gravy basket? That sounds like an innuendo somehow. I don't know why, but it's kind of like if you say it in the right way, it just sounds wrong.
Guy, Gavis Bettel. Also, as a general disclaimer on the tone of this video essay, I did not observe this poll as some neutral third party. I am obviously a Battalion, and I will be telling the story through the eyes of the Battalion as a whole, which will clearly affect my stances and opinions on the events unfolding over the course of this poll. I know there are many sides to this story from other fandoms involved, and I quite frankly don't know much about what was happening there, so just keep that in mind for the overall storytelling. And now that that's been established, let's go back to the very beginning of this whole event. The beginning of the Tumblr Sexy Man, Jester, and Clown contest. We first start this saga a little further back in time than you might expect, on February 8th, 2026, when Tumblr user Sexy People Contest 2026, also known as Mimosa, posted a Google form for submissions for the Sexy Jester Clown contest. These submissions would be open for about a month, and they announced the final list of contestants on March 31st, with round 1 of the competition kicking off immediately, consisting of a whopping 48 jesters and clowns all vying for the title of Tumblr's Sexy Man. Round 1 would come to pass without much excitement. No big upsets were caused yet, and the poll was progressing as would be expected from a Tumblr Sexy Man poll. The likes of Hugh Morris, Pomni, Shadow Milk Cookie, Harley Quinn, and Tumblr's own icon, Muppet Joker, also known as the Croaker, would go on to easily win the first round of the competition, and our main character, Gavis Bettel, would manage to barely scrape out a win against creepypasta icon Laughing Jack. The world was at peace and the battlefield was quiet. There were no disturbances in the Tumblr ecosystem. Yet. But peace wouldn't last long, and I don't think anyone was expecting the battle that was about to be fought. And that would bring us to round 2 of the competition. Round 2 of the Tumblr Sexy Man Jester Clown competition would begin on April 8th. And on the same day, I would go on to post this YouTube short on this very channel, Gavis Bettel Goes to Costco. A fun and silly short simply editing a scene together from Bettel's most recent week in review, his weekly Zatsu, or Just Chatting stream. I just thought it was funny and to make a really cute short that was highly edited, so I edited the clip together, and it's simple as that. It is also one of my favorite videos I've ever edited. I'm actually really proud of it, and also one of the most well-performing shorts as well. And because it was such a well-performing short, that means it left the target audience just a little bit. And in doing so, I would receive this comment on the YouTube short from user bloopbloop8725 on April 10th. Oh, I just saw this guy on a Jester version of the Tumblr Sexy Man competition. Once I saw this comment, thinking it was such a funny concept, I immediately sent it over to one of my Discord servers of close friends. A Shiki Katagami themed Discord server, by the way. One of my friends, who you may also know as Twitter user Penny Peach, was immediately able to track down said Tumblr Sexy Man poll. And it took almost no discussion at all before we all knew. We had to alert Twitter to this competition, and this would change everything. Peach would go on to tweet about the Tumblr Jester Sexy Man competition, and this tweet would go viral. Well, about as viral as a tweet about a VTuber fighting for his life in a Tumblr Sexy Man competition could go, realistically. Several of our other friends would all go on to share this poll to Twitter as well, and from there, the reach of this one initial post would spread, and spread.
Yeah, that was the, what's it called? That was the post I saw, and it was it was something in similar, like they said that battalion must unite on Tumblr or something like that. And when I read that it was on Tumblr, I was just, all right, not my battlefield. Have fun, you guys.
And spread, reaching all ends of the battalion and also the Howl Stars fandom as a whole, where the results of our work was fast to be visibly seen on the poll results, as Gavis Bettel would start to close the gap. Gavis Bettel himself will become aware of this poll and the fandom's activity later that day on April 10th, during a Hollow Stars EN Super Smash Bros. Ultimate collab, where he would randomly make the following comment offhand in the middle of the collab.
I'm browsing Twitter on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting mogged by a cookie on Twitter. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, I saw that. Oh, shit.
Yeah, I'm getting mogged by a cookie.
What's funny is what he didn't know at this time was that he, in fact, wasn't getting mogged by a cookie on Twitter. He himself was mogging a cookie on Tumblr because he was now winning the poll. When myself and my friends first came across this poll, Gavis Bettel was getting his ass beat by Shadow Milk Cookie, a Jester-like character from the game Cookie Run Kingdom, losing by quite a large margin of 30 to 70. And a lot of the votes he had at this time weren't even people who were fans of Gavis Bettel. It was mostly people who absolutely despised Shadow Milk Cookie.
You know what's crazy about this? I look at it, it's like 15,000 votes, right? 15,000 votes. So I'm like, okay, so 3% of that is Battalion, but there's like 85% people voting for fucking Gavis Bettel on Tumblr. They don't even know who I am. I don't know the Cookie Run Kingdom lore. I don't know the Cookie Run Kingdom.
A little later.
Hi again. Sorry about that. I forgot I had a drum student today. So, yeah. Let's return back to educating myself about the Tumblr Sexy Man.
He is evil and he deserves to die. And I'm like, dude, and then I dug deeper and people are like, why do they hate this cookie so much? And people are like, corporate greed. And I'm like, what are we talking about? I'm not about to get into the statistics and the Dow or whatever of Cookie Run Kingdom, okay?
But over the course of the day, the tides of battle would shift, and rapidly at that. And a little over 24 hours later, Gavis Bettel would not only rapidly close the gap on this poll, he would close the gap until he tied the poll, and then, suddenly, he was winning. After the collab ended, he would take to Twitter with thoughts of his own on the matter, igniting the flames even more as he told the battalion to tear that cookie asunder.
Let's see. Apparently what the battalion thinks is good use of the times to fight for me in six-man context on Tumblr. From what I can tell, it's a close battle between me and a cookie. Would you rather we vote for the Sanrio polls instead of fighting for your right to be crowned sexier than a cookie? No, this is the way to the cookie asunder.
And oh boy, did we sure listen. We had already maintained a lead, but we were not done fighting. We knew we had to hold the line and secure his success and passage into the next round. And of course, I couldn't end this segment without talking about all of the shenanigans involving #BettleMilk, the newly formed ship name between Gavis Bettel and Shadow Milk Cookie, which he would become aware of, by the way, by fellow VTuber Giga as well. And while this doesn't really have much of an impact on the actual competition, I just think it's such a silly little side plot in the grand scheme of things, I just wanted to include it here. Because the votes for Bettel became pouring in at such a rapid pace and seemingly came out of nowhere, it left a lot of people on Tumblr wildly confused as to what was happening with this poll. The Gavis Bettel versus Shadow Milk Cookie poll had 3 times more votes than some of the other polls in the same round. Eventually, it did become known that this specific poll had broken the containment of Tumblr and made its way into the hands of the Twitter and YouTube communities. And some people were not happy about this. There were people who were enraged that this competition was being tainted for votes coming from outside the site, and thought this to be rigging or voter manipulation. Mimosa, the poll curator, did not share this opinion at all, and the battalion had also started to adopt them into the fandom as well. After all, no one was botting the poll or paying for votes. People were either logging into their old Tumblr accounts for the first time in years or making a new account just for this poll. All of these votes ultimately were coming from real people, and if anything, it was bringing more traffic back onto Tumblr itself. But for those who are participating in this poll from the other side, for those not coming from the VTuber community, you might be thinking, why did we care so much? What caused us to laser focus in on a random Tumblr sexy man poll and fight for our beloved VTuber to win like our lives depended on it? Well, to understand the state the battalion, the Starman, and much of the wider VTuber community were in when we came across this poll, we have to go back in time a few days to April 3rd, approximately a week before stumbling across this poll, when the battalion and Starman would be hit with devastating news.
Ah, yes.
Mark would leave NCT. Okay, well, kidding, obviously, but no joke, these two events happened on the exact same day, and having come from an ex-K-pop stan background myself, it was like I was witnessing 2 disasters happening at once in most of my online communities. But let's get back on track and get serious again. On April 3rd, Cover Corp would release an official statement in both Japanese and English, revealing they had made the business decision to perform a massive downsizing of Holostars JP, essentially cutting off all of those members' fundings and access to company resources. It came as a complete smack in the face to both the VTubers of Holostars and their fan bases to be downsized to this extent. These members were now essentially stuck in a company without being able to receive any of the benefits this company was there to provide them with. As Holostars EN shares management with Hololive EN and not Holostars JP, this did not directly affect Gavis Bettel and the Holostars English boys as of yet, but this didn't mean the fandom didn't feel the weight of this decision. Many fans of Holostars EN were also fans of a lot of the Holostars JP boys. Many Holostars members were already fairly transparent in expressing their frustrations with management decisions that came from Cover Corp.
Man, I'm really trying to control my words right now because I am not happy.
And I'm sorry if my emotions or my way of talking doesn't match what I'm about to say. We all have different ways of dealing with shit, but I do have the right to be really fucking upset. That I would say.
This is where I start being a little petulant bitch for a second, so bear with me. Basically, to me, this is just the latest and possibly final straw on like fucking a huge fuck off pile of hay that just like blots out the sun like some monument to corporate stupidity. When I heard about this like situation with the JP boys a bit ago, I was mad. Like I was already mad enough as it is. I don't know. I'm just fully pissed off at the treatment of the JP boys, and this has been a real turning point for me. And I want you to know how serious that is. Don't mistake my gallows humor for complacency, because I am pissed. I'm angrier than I've been in a long time, and that's saying something.
And multiple talents were very quick to state that they weren't sure what the future for the EN branch was at this point.
You know,
Yeah.
we just gotta keep working hard. Because if we stop working hard, you know, it's just the obvious is gonna come. You know, it's gonna be similar outcome as the JP Stars boys. And I'm not saying they didn't work hard or anything. It's just unfortunate, like that. You know, things had to end up like this on their side. But you know, if we don't work fucking harder than what we are doing right now, you know, we might have to face the same consequences. Who knows? Like.
Following this announcement, many of the talents under Cover Corp from all branches would begin to voice their frustration with this decision, and support would come pouring out from VTubers all over as well, from other corporate VTubers to indies.
Give the Hollow Stars JP boys as much support as they deserve. And then some. If there's anybody who can vouch for how wonderful these men are, how inviting and how incredibly talented they are, I can vouch for that. Success in this world is unfortunately defined and controlled by a lot of different things.
But hey, if you guys really do love the boys, JP or EN, you know, just give them some love.
The fandoms were outraged, and no one was really happy with this decision. The Hollow Stars fandoms were at an all-time low, and it was hard to find anything positive to do in a situation like this. But if I know anything about the Hollow Stars fandom, we always look for light in the dark. So we began to organize.
I know that in the middle of hardship is when people's true colors show. In the middle of hardship is when our spirit shines the brightest. And I'm with you guys in every step of the fucking way.
People started going out of
Yeah, this this decision from Cover Corp, which as someone who's been a fan of Hololive and Hollow Stars since let's see, Hololive since like 2019, Hollow Stars since like 2020. Yeah, I was not happy with this decision either. I haven't really been vocal about it. I did send my thoughts about it to their email, where you as a fan can express your frustrations with the company. I sat down, I sat down, I don't know how many hours, and wrote out like a very harsh letter in a very corporate way of wording things, so they can understand. And yeah, it probably didn't do much, but at least I did not turn to just hate on social media like I saw so many other people do, which I personally think, even if I understand the frustration, the hate is something I do not understand. Especially when there was such a support from so many different sides coming out. So yeah. But that was also the point when I very much decided that I was gonna become like I'm gonna be a Hollow Stars React Andy. I do some other things from time to time, but my main focus is and will always be like the Hollow Stars, and I am very much have a focus on the JP boys. They have at least 2 videos a week, and if not more. So yeah, that's my way of showing support, because hopefully I will start to get enough views on my Hollow Stars reaction videos that other React Andys will start reacting to them as well. So hopefully that will end up being like free marketing for the boys in a weird kind of way.
their way to support the Japanese Hollow Stars boys in droves, with people sharing fan art, their favorite stream clips, covers, other music performances, sharing ways on how to learn Japanese and other tools to use for real-time translation, and favorite moments from their collabs with the Hollowstars EN boys. The talents in Hollowstars JP did not want to give up at all, and were very determined to keep working hard for their fan bases in spite of the disrespect they were just shown and the limited resources they now had. And I honestly found that to be incredibly admirable of them. And their determination and positivity in such a dark time really touched the entire fandom. Everyone from all corners of the Hollowstars fandom were more determined than ever to support their Oshis. Now, I could go on and on about this entire situation for like another 2 hours and really get down in the weeds if I wanted to here, but I'm trying to keep it as brief as possible because this is the Tumblr Jester Sexy Man competition video essay, and we don't need to get too deep in the weeds of the business and all of the depression that happened in the Hollowstars fandom. So after all that, let's go back to the Tumblr Sexy Man contest after this brief tangent. But now you do understand the state our fandom was in when this poll landed in our laps. We were going through one of the most depressing times we had ever experienced, and we were looking for any way imaginable to promote and support our Oshis. Enter the Tumblr Jester Sexy Man poll, and we latched onto this poll hard. And us sharing this poll so much and so often and attempting to drag our sopping wet cat Jester VTuber to victory was the perfect way for us to promote our Oshi and redirect our rage into something more positive and productive. We would make Gavis Bettel a Tumblr Sexy Man, even if he didn't really fit the bill of what a typical Tumblr Sexy Man was or was supposed to be. That didn't matter to us. We were going to do everything in our power to get Gavis Bettel the win in this competition, and he himself was 100% on board.
15,000 votes for Gavis Bettel and the Cookie total, but now that the Cookie lost, they're like, there should be some mutual respect. We fight together. We fight together!
Once he obtained his lead in this poll, the gap between the two would decrease over the course of the next week, but he would still manage to hold on to a large enough lead until the next week when the round 2 polls would close, guaranteeing him passage into round 3 of the competition. We had won the battle, but not yet the war, and boy were we not prepared for the uphill battle that was coming Gavis Bettel's way. We had just finished a hard-fought battle against the notorious Shadow Milk Cookie of Cookie Run Kingdom, and honestly, it was hard. It felt like a battle of this degree shouldn't be happening in round 2 of this competition. But then again, in another universe, this wouldn't have even been a battle at all if this poll had never made its way into the hands of the battalion on Twitter in the first place, and Gavis Bettel would have gotten his face stomped into the ground by Shadow Milk Cookie. But regardless, we had pulled off what we thought was a massive feat, and we were ready to attack the next round of the competition with the same ferocity that we had in round 2. That was until we saw who we were up against. Pomni, of the amazing Digital Circus. Arguably one of...
I have never seen the show. I only seen like clips and memes, but I know this is a very popular character. I've seen like a ton of VTubers like react to this show, or like I'm pretty sure it's a show, right? Like I've heard about like some whatever it's called circus, but I've never watched it. It doesn't seem to be my kind of entertainment, but I know it's very popular.
The most popular animated series that exists right now, and Pomni being probably the most iconic Jester in the current digital age.
I saw who I'm up against after the Cookie. Pomni from the amazing Digital Circus. I am fucked. I am fucked. It is over. I don't care if I am ahead right now. It is cooked. I cannot think of I cannot think of like, okay, modern day Tumblr. Who do I think of? Thinking. I mean, I think Sans, but that's not modern. It has to be Pomni. That has to be the #1 Tumblr icon. I'm fucked. It's over. But I want to put up a fight. I don't want it to be too much of a wash, you know?
In round 2, Bettel had become one of the frontrunners of the competition, and if we were able to keep the votes pouring in the way that we had, we would have a chance of taking home this entire thing. How are we ever meant to win if we have to fight the other frontrunner of the competition in round 3? But alas, bracket-style competitions are always bound to have matchups like this, where two titans fight each other in early rounds and one of them gets left behind in the dust fallen too soon. And we were convinced convinced. This was the end of the road for Gavis Bettel. I will admit, it's almost a little bit sad how quick we were to all throw in the towel on this round. I mean, we were already accepting defeat hours after the round had even started. And we did start off losing, by quite a large margin at that, but that was the kind of thing we were expecting. This battle wasn't even going to be a battle. We sure as hell weren't going to go down fighting though. But we had started to come to terms with the fact that this was going to be it. But then, the tides turned. We were able to keep the momentum up, keeping people excited, and we were actually able to pull ahead of Popney for a little bit. And then we started losing again, which we honestly still expected to happen, but the gap was at least much smaller than we were anticipating now. It held steady at about a 45-55 split for quite some time. Gavis Bettel himself was also fully committed to this poll and to our cause now, having made several of his Zatsus completely about campaigning for and talking about said poll.
And we unite, and we can maybe make this work. 15,000 votes for Gavis Bettel and the cookie total, but now that the cookie lost, they're like, there should be some mutual respect. We fight together. We fight together! Attention! My battalion, hello! We had the Cookie Run Kingdom alliance of traitors that voted against their own kin for the greater good of Jester kind! And now we unite! For a common interest to not get canceled by the amazing digital circus fandom!
He was so in on the bit now, and he had risen to be the general leading the rest of us into battle. Along the way, he was also rapidly gaining new fans from this entire ordeal, reaching the 200,000 subscriber milestone over the course of this round of the competition, and then going on to advertise the poll during his celebratory karaoke rebroadcast. Many people, including the poll maker Mimosa and other people from the Tumblr sphere, had begun looking into Bettel and Hollow Stars, and they were charmed by him now.
I've never come to one of your streams before now, but I'm free from Tumblr. Nice to meet you. You're winning round 3 right now, by the way. I gotta get into that. Tootsie, thank you so much. Prince of the Azure Sky, welcome. welcome. Yes, I'm Gavis Bettel, a voice to the face. The current reigning champion of the Jester Tumblr sexy whatever. Forget it. Sexy Tumblr man. Okay.
And as someone who has been a fan of him for a while, I can't say I'm that surprised. And while all of us, Gavis Bettel included, knew this was all just in good fun, we were all kind of really hoping he would win this entire thing. Like, would any of us be that exceptionally mad if he lost? No. It simply was not that serious. But I would be lying if I said it wouldn't have been a little disappointing to see him lose at any point.
Yeah,
But above all else, this poll was bringing so much whimsy back into my life, and I can't speak for everyone else, but I know many others also felt the same. The rest of the week had passed with a bunch of us mostly resigned to the fate that this was going to be the end of the line for Gavis Bettel. He knew this too, and he was calling all of the battalion that he could into battle. The gap wasn't that large, but we didn't think we had the numbers.
I honestly, when I saw this, like, because I've only seen this character with color, so I thought it was like the emo version of said character, that it wasn't the main character, it was just a popular side character. So now I know he actually went up against like I don't know if it's the main character, but the one that I see that everyone is like making art of. At least to my knowledge.
To close it in the time that was left. But within the last final days of the competition, we all made one final push, and we began reaching out to other reaches of the VTuber fandoms, begging and pleading anyone who would listen to humor us and our stupid.
Yeah, that's. I almost, when I saw Hollow Stars English, like the official account, reference this because I realized it was a reference to the Tumblr sexy man thingy. I was almost convinced to make a account to vote, but I saw this like on my lunch break at work, and then I forgot about it.
Cause, and the other fandoms heard our pleas. Niji Sanji. VTubers from another corporation would be the ones to come to our rescue. They had heard us, and they were here to be our saviors. Alira Pandora was the first of the Nijisanji livers to help advocate for our cause, and she was followed by none other than Shuya Mino and then UQ Wilson. Other corporate VTubers would join in as well, such as Ash Cariel from First Stage Production, and other indie VTubers who are known friends of Gavis Bettel, such as Lambriel and Apollo Bugman, were quick to come to aid as well. And with the wider VTuber community now fighting alongside us, we were making a comeback. Also, I do want to make this clear just for transparency's sake for everyone who is not familiar with the corporate VTuber landscape, because I really don't want to be misleading. This is not like the most shocking occurrence in the world, and it is rather common for VTubers from Hollow Stars, Nijisanji, First Stage Productions, and other corporations to collab with each other often, and there are also many well-known friendships that span all three of these companies. So like, for Nijisanji to come to our rescue here in the poll is not like some kind of world-shattering event, but to see VTubers from other companies joining in and supporting us in this silly little Tumblr poll was honestly just super cute to see. This whole ordeal wasn't anything serious at all, but I think at this point in time, a lot of people in the larger VTuber community had become really endeared to Bettel and to the Tumblr Sexy Man poll. We all wanted to see him win. Whether or not people happened to be fans of him or not, he was the general leading the charge into uncharted territory, and a win for Gavis Bettel was a win for VTubers. What was once seen as an unfillable gap suddenly closed, and then Gavis Bettel pulled ahead yet again, pulling out yet another win at the last minute in a very tight race. We had somehow managed to take down one of the biggest internet titans of jesters, something that we had seen as impossible just days ago. But with Pomni now defeated, victory in this entire competition started to feel real. And in what was maybe a fit of blind power, seeing as how we had somehow managed to turn the tides of an unwinnable battle twice now, we then began to think of the bigger picture. What competitors we would have to face down the road, and what battles we could maybe avoid altogether. And so, we made one last push. Not on the Bettel versus Pomni poll, but on a different poll entirely. Jevil from Deltarune versus the Croaker versus Cicero from Elder Scrolls. Cicero was pretty far out of the running at this point, but we saw a golden opportunity to take advantage of this poll. We would take Jevil out of the running right here and now. And so, one of my friends Softo started to make the push for people to vote for Croaker and to knock Jevil out of this competition now. Jevil was another one of the frontrunners of this competition, so taking him out prematurely would have been only beneficial to us. But we also kind of just thought an eventual battle between the Croaker would overall just be funnier. And with our victory firmly secured in the Pomni poll at this point, we were able to shift the course of this poll as well, just barely getting the Croaker a win in round 3, progressing him onto round 4 and knocking Jevil out of this competition. And now, with 2 hard-fought battles under our belt in round 3 of this competition, we were ready to attack the semi-finals. Our battle wasn't over yet. We still had one more round to make it through before the finale of this competition, and it was about to be our hardest fought battle yet. It was time for round 4 of the competition, and there were only 6 competitors left in the bracket at this point. Bettel was quick to have a celebratory Zatsu, celebrating his win and also honoring his fallen competitors.
With each victory comes great wealth to my people, the battalion, and friends. The Tumblr men and the cookie men. To start by defeating Laughing Jack, I will do some kind of horror-based story reading event stream. For next week, I will be playing Cookie Run Kingdom, so help me God. I will let you know if something does change, but in due respect that we may have called this Shadow Milk Cookie our enemy, we may have called him the betrayer, we may have said terrible things, but we do still have respect for them. If you could fucking believe it. Sorry to use the F word. We defeated Pomni Digital Circus. We defeated Pomni Digital Circus in the bloodiest battle that may be of this entire war. They put up the greatest fight you've ever seen. If you could believe it, the amazing Digital Circus perms. We will be doing a public watch along of the first 2 episodes, at least.
He would then kick off an entire week's worth of content, essentially dedicated to the Tumblr Sexy Man poll. He was deeply committed to this bit at this point, but longtime fans of Gavis Bettel know sticking to the bit was something he was great at. This round started with the Croaker up against Nikola Orsanov from Magnus Archives, and Hugh Morris was fighting the Lego Joker. And our competitor for this round was April 1st from video game MonsterCon. I've never played MonsterCon myself, but I am a huge fan of Jesse Cox, who is one of the executive producers of this game, so I'm relatively familiar with the franchise. At the start of this week, we thought this was our week to take a break. April definitely had plenty of her own fans, but none of the polls she had won previously had nearly the same amount of votes in the polls that Bettel had been winning. And throughout most of this week's competition, that proved to be correct. Bettel had quickly risen to a huge lead in the poll and held on to a 80-20 or 70-30 split in the votes for most of the week. This was finally our time to take a break, to decompress from these two incredibly hard-fought battles we had just finished fighting. We were not prepared for the counterattack. On April 27th, 2 days before the round of this competition was set to end, the developers, that's right, the developers of MonsterCon would launch a counterattack. They were releasing an April update to the game, and while they were releasing this, they decided to just add in the details of the Tumblr Sexy Man poll and where to vote for April in, along with all of their official announcements for the update. They would go on to post this on Twitter, as well as an announcement ping in their Discord server. And they put this information on the official Steam page of the game. We were baffled. We had no clue this little poll would make it as far to reach the actual developers of a real video game, and to see them taking this poll just as seriously as us was kind of mind-blowing. And their call to action worked, and for the first time in this competition, we were no longer the underdog trying to make a last-minute comeback. We were the front runners trying to hold the line, and the line was wavering. Reminiscent of our second round comeback victory against Shadow Milk Cookie, April was very quick to rapidly close the gap, and suddenly, the win was within reach for either of them. We were losing ground at a rapid pace, and the speed at which we were losing our lead, it was looking like we might not make it out of this round after all. We had also, unfortunately, started to see something we had not really experienced in other rounds, and that was a lot of negativity being thrown at Gavis Bettel and his character design. This was definitely not the first time over the course of this poll we had seen similar comments, but back in the Shadow Milk Cookie fight, a lot of the hate was directed towards us as the fans for quote-unquote infiltrating the polls from outside websites, and those are opinions that really didn't bother a lot of us, especially because Mimosa themselves had said that the poll gaining traction outside of Tumblr in the way that it did, they had no problem with. And quite frankly, we really didn't see any negativity at all during our fight against Pomni, and going into that round, it was where we had initially expected to see the most hate of all. So to see so much of it coming out of the Monster Prom fandom of all places was quite frankly a little shocking. And look, I have absolutely nothing bad to say about MonsterCon and the developers at all. The devs went out of their way to make sure their fans were behaving politely during the poll, and also went out of their way to show their support for Gavis Bettel as well. And I also realize this is not at all representative of the MonsterCon fandom as a whole. There are many Bettelian who are in both fandoms as well, but to see so many comments insulting Gavis Bettel for his boring and bland character design just seemed completely unnecessary and a little bit rude. Mainly because these types of insults were a direct insult to Zenzaki Makoto, his character designer, who is beloved in the Bettelian. And also, by the way, was aware of this poll and supporting Gavis Bettel in it, and had promised sexy Gavis Bettel fan art if he ended up the winner of this entire thing. And I know a lot of these insults came from people unaware that this man is a VTuber and by proxy a real person, and a lot of people kind of retracted their comments after they found that out. But I did see so many posts throwing around the words twink and corporate VTuber used as an insult, and quite frankly, it's a little bit boring and uncreative. During the last day of this round, things were desperate.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah. Don't get that out of my face right now. I'm busy right now. For God's sake. Yeah, just get it done! Just get it done!
Yeah.
Attention. Attention, everyone. Hello. Hello. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening right now. It's happening right now. Battalion. Allies. Friends and families of this ongoing conflict. At 0600, it was brought to my attention that a sneak attack was conducted on me in the dead of night by the Monster Prom fan base. Not only that, but the devs have seen. They've seen. We grew complacent. We grew weak. We will not falter. We will not fail. We've come too fucking far. The opponent is strong. They are breaking our defenses, but we will hold the line or perish.
He did make sure to reassure fans not to worry about the competition if anyone was not having fun with it anymore.
Also, by the way, you do not by any means need to participate in this. I see people going like, I saw some things like people are like, dude, I'm not having fun anymore, or this kind of sinks, or whatever. You are not obligated. It's all, again, it's all just like one big kind of goofy. Honestly, it's just giving me an excuse to theme a stream for the first 30 minutes. We needed some kind of side quest arc to blow out of proportion, as we do.
We were still in the lead, but it was slowly slipping away, and with every minute that passed, we became more and more concerned about Gavis Bettel's win in this round. So, once again, we made our final plea to the masses. We asked Niji-sanji for help again. And they came back once again to deliver. Alira Pandora and Shuya Mino were both back again in our time of need, 2 rounds in a row now. And with the added Niji-sanji backing, we were able to hold on to our lead long enough for Gavis Bettel to secure his win in this round of the competition. And I am honestly not really sure if we have been able to hold on to that lead for long, if not for the final push and support from Niji-sanji fanbase in this final hours. So huge thank you to everyone who helped us vote for that. But as the final hour of the semi-final round drew to a close, while we were watching the Bettel versus April poll with bated breath and making sure we could guarantee his passage into the finals, there was also an insanely close race happening between the Croaker up against Nikola Orzanov from the Magnus Archives. I was watching this poll like a hawk, and in the final hour of the competition, I watched in real time as the poll was swaying back and forth between 49.9 to 50.1 favoring the Croaker, back to a 50-50 tie, and then going back to a 49.9% to 50.1, but now favoring Nikola, and this went back and forth like this multiple times within the last hour of the competition, and people were making a mad dash advocating for either side. Ultimately, at the time the poll drew to a close, the Croaker was in the lead, winning by 0.1%. Had the poll closed even 10 minutes later, this result could have been different. But as soon as all 3 of the round 4 polls came to a close, it was finally time for the grand finale of this entire thing. And the world was ready to finally crown its Tumblr sexy man of jesters once and for all. And so, with the close fought battle with April finally over, and with both the Cookie Run Kingdom and Monster Prom developers now huge Gavis Bettel fans, we had finally reached the end of the road. Just one more poll, against none other than current hot commodity Hugh Morris of Tomodachi Life and the Croaker, who might as well have been the embodiment of Tumblr itself. A battle that we wouldn't have even seen as easy or doable at the start of this poll, but after having taken down so many other titans of this competition just to get here, we knew our strength. We had the numbers of not only the Battalion and the Starmen, we had the support of so many other VTuber fandoms at this point. And not only that, even some of the fans of our other fallen competitors were going to advocate for Gavis Bettel. And in what should have been the hardest fought battle of this entire competition, ended up being rather calm. No big upsets, no counterattacks, no last-minute scrambling. And well, I find it to be rather poetic that we end this competition in the calm and unstressed way that it did, having now gathered so many allies and support along the way, all just looking to support our beloved internet funny man in a poll that means nothing, but at the same time stood for so much.
And the winner of the Tumblr Jester poll
That's not
did he
true.
actually win?
Not yet.
That was like my fucking newspaper at this point. I was like, oh my god, Bettel.
He's against
Holy
party.
shit of a cookie.
Tried to kill Hollow Stars. You take that, you fucking cookie. You take it to the bank.
That's a very uphill battle. Poppy's winning. We gotta do something about this.
The poll maker has gotten a battalion Sona. We have an absolute bias on the field. The person that made the entire poll is now a battalion. People say it's rigged. People say there's favoritism. Am I a Nepo Jester baby? The answer, I don't give a fuck.
Go vote for Gavis Bettel as sexiest Jester on the Tumblr poll. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Did you vote for Gavis Bettel? Yes. That's my goat right there.
Oh my gosh. Is that Gavis Bettel? The one who everyone's voting for?
Bettel's winning the Tumblr sexy Jester poll right now.
You better win. Do you know how iconic it would be to be oomphs with
That's literally what I said. I was like, that's oomph. That's oomph.
The Tumblr sexy man?
If I'm oomph, you better support my oomph too, you know?
I think he won against Pomni. Alright, awesome.
Like, especially considering the fact that I'm oomphing, that should mean a lot more to you guys because it's oomph.
He's so funny! He's the funniest.
Dude, Tumblr sexy Jester finals.
He's the sexy one!
And that brings us to the end of this insane month-long journey. And it feels incredibly stupid to get emotional over a Tumblr sexy man poll, but I can't stop myself from tearing up a little.
That's completely valid, considering how much effort you put into it, and considering also where Hollow Stars were at that moment in time, as you brought up, to have this, like, because it is a victory, not just because you won, not just a haha, we are made our Oshi the like new Tumblr sexy man, but as she mentioned, he got to got to 200k subscribers during this, and so many communities gathered. So it is, I think it's a legit reason to feel emotional over this, because it's in a way turning the tides of something that was so like have such a negative effect with with Hold the Stars and Cover Corp and all that, to have this win, have this internet win, because this probably put a lot of more eyes on not just Battle but of Hold the Stars as a whole.
It truly was so heartwarming to see so many areas of the VTuber community come together and unite for something as stupid as this. And it definitely did so much to help some of the Hollow Stars fandom out of the depression we were living in.
Yes.
And remind us, yet again, why this community adds so much fun and whimsy into our lives, and why we'll never stop supporting our Oshis. And with everything said and done, I just want to give one big thank you to Mimosa, the person who runs the Tumblr Sexy Man contest. I don't think you or us expected this poll to reach the level of insane publicity that it got, so I just want to say thank you. Thank you for putting up with us and letting us invade the Tumblr ecosystem for our stupid cause. I hope we didn't cause too much harm besides getting more and more people into Gavis Bettel and Hollow Stars. Thank you so much to everyone for watching this. It's been a blast being in the thick of battle for this entire thing. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this ended up being an adequate summary of this entire monumental event. And congratulations one last time to Gavis Bettel, the sexiest Jester of Tumblr.
And yeah, for me, I really like these kind of like educational quote unquote videos, just because I knew it was happening, I just didn't understand it. Because as soon as I mentioned before, as soon as I saw it was a Tumblr thing, it was like, all right, that's not my platform. It's not where I belong. Like it's a part of the internet that is just not for me. They have their own inside jokes, and like it's just I am, even if I would be like an outsider there, I'm that kind of outsider that doesn't like it doesn't belong. Yeah, being an outsider means it doesn't belong, but it's just that it's that corner of the internet that I just don't give anything about. It like, yeah, you can do your things over there. I will not intervene at all. So so yeah, but seeing him win, and also seeing saying how much support and how like the VTube community like gathered around for this was it was fun. It was fun to witness from a distance, and now I know a bit more. Like I had no idea it was this close with some of the polls, and how and that it was such an effort from the community as a whole. But yeah, it was a fun learning experience. As someone who's I would consider myself a casual battalion. I'm not as deep into the battle community as K Mary here, for example. But battle is probably of the among English VTubers. He's probably he's probably up there in my top 5. But yeah, but and also now I actually know what Tumblr 6 man is. I've spent I don't know how many years, like, because this has been a term I've known since I was a teenager, and I just assumed it meant it was the top % of people that the Tumblr user made not safe for work art of. So yeah, but anyhow, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you for subscribing. Please let me know what I should check out in the near future. Have a good whatever it is where you are, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!